Welcome back then to more Peugeot 306 shenanigans, and today it's time for me to replace the rear quarter trim and the seatbelt. If you've watched my previous video on the rust repairs, you'll know how much of a pig of a job that was. Ended up in the seatbelt recoiling, then becoming seized, and I had to cut it in order to get the bit of trim put back on. But the car's in for its Irish MOT, the NCT, on Thursday. Today's Monday, so I've got 4 days, and I really need to get this done. Managed to buy a few parts for it over the weekend. I met a gentleman who was breaking a car identical to this, a Peugeot 306 Genoa. So I've got myself door cards, I've got a new stereo, and of course the aforementioned rear trim and seatbelt. So yeah, I better get cracking. Reverted back to just the phone microphone for this one, so that'll be why there'll be a bit of a difference in sound. Here is our new old panel there with the seatbelt, and I asked the seller, and he very kindly agreed to kind of clamp it in place with the cable ties. That should stop it from recoiling. So that's going to go there, in behind that bit of trim. So the first job, I think, is to remove the parcel shelf, which is very easy. Just unhook it from these two and then sort of pull it out. But I do also have to connect the connection for the radio, which is down here. So just give me a moment while I remove that. And that should unscrew as it has done. So let's whip this parcel shelf out then. There we go, that is gone. So I'll leave that sitting over here for now. Next job then is to unscrew little mounting points. Now there's quite a few screws and bolts missing here, as you can see, because I knew this panel would be coming off when I refitted it. So yeah, I'll get a socket set and start getting those off. Right, let's get these bits removed then. It's all relatively easy. I'll just keep those to one side so I know where they are from. Oh, that's dropped. So just leave those screws sitting in there, I think, for now, to make it nice and easy then for me to. That's the problem now with wearing these big thick gloves, is that finesse is lessened somewhat. Right, I'll put that over here with the parcel shelf. So that's that out of the way. Right, now we have to remove this panel here. I'm going to have to remove some of this weatherproofing around the body shell as well. Nice and simple. Now that panel there will stay in place for the duration of the job. Not going to be removing it. So I'll just keep those two somewhere where I'll be easily able to find them. I'll pop them up there. Right, so that's those done. So I've removed the rubber weather seal there, and this is a horribly familiar job. I'm almost getting deja vu flashbacks from a couple of weeks ago when I first did it, but basically there's a screw in here that I've got to undo, and then this panel here will be free, and I've got to unclip this plastic roof panel from the roof. So yeah, I think actually the first thing to do is get this panel unclipped here, and then that means I've got nice easy access to that screw. Now unfortunately I don't own one of those trim removal tools, so a flathead screwdriver will have to do the job. I don't really like doing it like this, but I don't really have that much of a choice, so I better get cracking with it. I'm not sure how much this you can actually see. There we go, that's that one done. As I said, not a big fan of this way of doing it. I haven't really got much of a choice. There we go. And then that panel then, which is already a little bit cracked here, should just pop out. There we go, you see? So that's that one done, and I've got access to that screw in there now. Now to undo this screw, it should then mean I can free this panel off. Good stuff. I'll just store that up there as well. So this panel now should come off in one piece. Right, let's see if it does then. It should do. Just gotta be careful with it. There we go, lovely stuff. That's that free, and you can see the glorious quality of my repair there. Okay, so the seatbelt mount is now, or the seatbelt is now mounted, nice and solid. That's not moving at all. Just pop a little bit of wire under there to the little guiding mark that it should live in. Next then is to fit the buckle top upper mount section up there. Okay, so this should be a bit more straightforward. The access is a lot easier. Pop that through and lovely, that should be in straight away. Lovely stuff, that'll do. Right, that's that reattached. Okay, so our next step then is to reattach the seat belt mounting point by the rear seat. Now that's nice and solid. Okay, so with the seatbelt now installed, I can hopefully remove this little clamping cable tie that I had the owner put on for me, and it should mean that it works. Yes, that is fantastic news. Brilliant stuff. Right, let's refit this piece of trim then. Now, just before I do so, I've noticed something which is a little bit funny. There's some grey plastic left in this new piece of trim that I'm going to fit, which comes off the roof panel. Undoubtedly, it's just fell there onto the floor. So there it is there, just to prove that they are very brittle. There's the little broken piece that I've got on mine. So yeah, it's come off one of the corners or somewhere, but it's good to know that it's not just my roof panel that is fragile. Now, as all Haynes manuals will tell you, refitting is the reverse of removal, which isn't helpful at all. But yeah, I'm going to try anyway with this now. There's a couple of screws that are actually still in it. Oh, there's one anyway, that one just there. At least I can use that to kind of guide it into place. But there we are. Yeah, that was actually really rather simple, that, wasn't it? I suppose I've got to actually make sure that it all fits up around where that top mounting screw is up there. But yeah, oh, and I don't even need to replace the screws in, or the mount for the parcel shelf. I'll leave that there. That's nice and handy. Just for a minute, just going to wear the seal here too. That would make a lot more sense, wouldn't it? There we go. We're in place. Lovely stuff. That is fantastic. Right, let's secure it then with all the screws and bolts. Okay, with that panel now replaced and the seatbelt actually working, which is fantastic, it's now time for me to reattach that roof trim. There we go, that's that reattached, which is brilliant. So pop that weather seal back over and we're good to go. Okay, so that panel is reattached, which I'm delighted with, and it's looking pretty neat there as well. It's not perfect, but it'll do, and our seatbelt works. Look at that. So that should at least help it in its NCT on Thursday. Still don't think it'll pass because there's a couple of mechanical bits I think that probably will need doing. But anyway, at least I don't have to worry about that seatbelt. And I hope for as long as I live I never have to remove a rear panel off a 306 again. But there is one thing though that I'm forgetting. It is this little blanking plate, which houses the hole that's been left because the car is so poverty I don't even have a light in the boot. So pop that in. Sorted. Job's a good one. And just to prove that this new seatbelt works perfectly, here we go. Doing this one-handed, obviously, so it's a little bit of a pain. There we go, into the buckle. Sorted. Oh yeah, and I have to say, I'm delighted with that. Happy days.